after the Chicago Bears 41-25 beatdown on Sunday Night Football against the Green Bay Packers, Matt Nagy in a press conference Monday after the game took it upon himself to call out the defense, the players, and his coaches after their loss to the Green Bay Packers. And what's crazy to me is that he says that they need to play with more pride. And that really kind of set me off because I went and I watched the interview and I was only able to get through 5 minutes of it without turning it off because I was absolutely just frustrated with the words that was coming out of Matt Nagy's mouth. First, he calls out the defense and says that the defense needs to play with more pride. The defense should have played better against the Green Bay Packers. So, here's what set me off. The defense needs to play with more pride, but the defense has been carrying your team ever since you got hired by the Chicago Bears. Matt Nagy's supposed to be an offensive-minded coach, but yet the defense is the best part of his team. So if you ask me, I can't blame the defense for having a lackluster performance against the Green Bay Packers. I mean, is it excusable? No, the defense, could they have played better? Yeah, they could. But I mean, how good do you expect the defense to perform when your offense goes 3 and out every single play? When your offense can't sustain drives? When you got Mitchell Trubisky turning the football over? Like, what can your defense do? So I, for one, didn't agree with him calling out his defense because your offense is putting the defense in bad situations. Like, the Chicago Bears defense is the only reason Matt Nagy went to the playoffs his first year as a head coach for Chicago. So I don't really understand why he would call out the defense like that when his offense didn't do anything. His offense didn't help out the defense. When you're playing the Green Bay Packers and your defense has to come on the field for several plays because your offense is going 3 and out, like, what do you expect? You're facing Aaron Rodgers. You're facing the Green Bay Packers. Then he calls out the players. He calls out the coaches. But you want to know one guy that he didn't call out? Himself. So I wake up every morning. And the first thing I do when I wake up is I go to the bathroom and I brush my teeth and I look at myself in the mirror while I'm brushing my teeth. Now, I don't know about Matt Nagy. I don't know if when Matt Nagy wakes up, he does the same thing I do, but I'm guessing that maybe Matt Nagy goes to the bathroom. Maybe he just doesn't have a mirror in there to look at himself in the mirror because he didn't take any accountability at all. I just saw Matt Nagy pointing fingers like what we see a lot of coaches who are on the hot seat do. They point fingers. It's not their fault. It's everybody else's fault. Everybody else needs to play better. And then what really set me off, this is even what made me turn off the press conference. What made me turn off the press conference is when a reporter asked him about Mitchell Trubisky's play, and did Mitchell Trubisky play good enough to get the start against the Detroit Lions? Now, previously, they interviewed Mitchell Trubisky, and they asked Mitchell Trubisky how he played against the Green Bay Packers. And he said, and the reporter asked him, did you feel like you played good enough to start against the Detroit Lions? He said, I don't know. Now, Mitchell Trubisky knew good dang well that he did not play good enough to start against the Detroit Lions. So I don't know why he was lying to himself. Because if I'm Mitchell Trubisky, I'd be dead honest with myself. And there have been plenty of players in the NFL that are dead honest with themselves saying that, you know what, I played that crap. You know, but Mitchell Trubisky didn't do none of that. He said, I don't know. So they asked Matt Nagy, and they asked Matt Nagy, hey man, do you think that Mitchell Trubisky played good enough against the Green Bay Packers that he should get the start against the Detroit Lions next week? Next week being in the next game that the Chicago Bears play. And Matt Nagy said, you know, Mr. Trubisky did some good things. When we went no huddle, when we were down early, that's when I turned the post-game press conference or whatever it was off. I just turned it off. And then this is what made me to make this video that I'm making right now. So you're going to tell me that you're going to call out the defense, you're going to call out the guys on your staff, and you're going to call out the other players, but you're not going to call out Mitchell Trubisky? Didn't Mitchell Trubisky throw like a handful of interceptions? Like, he played terrible. So I don't understand if you're going to tell everybody to play with some pride, but you're not going to take pride in yourself and your play calling and your offense, something that you're supposed to be known for. You're supposed to be an offensive-minded coach, but yet the offense stinks. Like, I don't understand that. You call out the defense, which is the only reason why you only have 5 wins right now, if we're being honest. But yeah, you don't call out Mr. Trubisky for a terrible play against the Green Bay Packers, but you're going to say, oh, well, he looked good in the no huddle. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? You're going to try to find good in Mr. Trubisky, but you're going to call out everybody else? That makes no sense to me, and you don't even call out yourself. So that makes no sense to me. And everybody wants to make excuses talking about well, look at the offensive line, JT. Bull crap, man. Bull crap at this point. I'm tired of hearing Bears fans make excuses for Mr. Trubisky, talking about the offensive line. I'm just tired of it. I don't get what the offensive line has to do with Mr. Trubisky not overlooking wide open wide receivers. Against Green Bay, Allen Robinson was open several times, and Mr. Trubisky looked dead at him and threw the ball to somewhere else. It irritates me. It irritates me how Chicago Bears fans and Philadelphia Eagles fans, some of them, not saying all of you, but some of you guys out there will make excuses for a terrible quarterback play. Like, I'm arguing with Philadelphia Eagles fans on Twitter, like, Carson Wentz has been terrible this year. His footwork sucks. His accuracy sucks. He's missing wide open wide receivers. He's overthrowing wide open wide receivers. But nobody wants to, penalize Carson Wentz for some reason. Everybody's still stuck in that 2017 MVP season. But yeah, everybody wants to make excuses for Carson Wentz, saying that he has a bad team, is off the line, is this, is that. Can we hold players accountable? Can we always talk about on Twitter normalizing things? Can we normalizing holding quarterbacks accountable and not just guys like Lamar Jackson when they play bad, or guys like Josh Allen? Like, let's hold quarterbacks who stink accountable. Carson Wentz stinks. Let's hold him accountable. Mr. Trubisky stinks. Can we hold him accountable? Can Matt Nagy hold Mr. Trubisky accountable? Dude sucked against Green Bay. He sucked. Point blank, period. If you suck, you suck. So the fact that he had the nerve to get on the podium and call out the defense, which is the only reason he still has a job right now, is because of the defense. He won 8 games last year because of the defense. Since Matt Nagy has been in Chicago, this is a guy who is an Andy Reid disciple. He's supposed to be an offensive-minded coach, but I've never seen Matt Nagy since his time in Chicago have a top 10 offense. The defense has carried the offense. The defense basically is the offense, if you ask me. So the fact that Matt Nagy called out everybody, but didn't call out Mr. Trubisky, that I don't even know what to think about that. And I'll be honest with you, I was going to watch the whole thing, but I turned it off. I didn't need to see anymore. It's time for the Chicago Bears to get rid of Matt Nagy. It's time. This is how you know that the pressure of the hot seat is getting to Matt Nagy. This is how you know. Because when you have coaches that are calling out everybody else and not taking accountability themselves, that's how you know that the pressure of the hot seat is starting to get to him. Matt Nagy knows that his job is on the line. He knows that if the Chicago Bears lose another game, that their playoff hopes are not only finished, but his tenure as a head coach in Chicago is finished as well. And you're calling out everybody else, but you're going to, try to find good in Mitchell Trubisky's performance against Green Bay. You lost 41-25. He threw a couple of touchdowns in garbage time. The game was over. That makes no sense to me. So Matt Nagy calls out players. He's calling out coaches. He's calling out people on his staff like he's ruining the locker room. And the locker room is pretty much maybe already ruined already if it hasn't been after his comments. Because normally you see a head coach take accountability, come out on the podium and say that, you know what? I have to do a better job as a coach. We'll have to do a better job as a coach, as players and coaches or whatever. But I didn't hear Matt Nagy utter a word out his mouth about him. He just pointed fingers at everybody else. This is the sign of a coach who knows that his job is on the line, who knows that his team is struggling, and knows that he is pretty much going to be on his way out after the season is over. And that's what I saw. And for Chicago, you knew the offensive line was the issue. Instead of drafting all these tight ends or picking up all these tight ends, you should have used a little bit of that money and invested it in the offensive line. Maybe you should have drafted another additional offensive lineman. Maybe you should have signed another additional free agent. Is Jimmy Graham even being used? Makes no sense to me. So you guys let me know what you guys think about Matt Nagy reportedly acting like he deserves none of the blame for the Chicago Bears losing what? 5 straight games in a row ever since they started the season out 5-1. And they play the Detroit Lions this Sunday, and they are surprisingly a 3-point favorite to win that game. I think that the Lions are going to win. Believe it or not, I think that the Lions are going to win that game. So you guys let me know what you guys think. Make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content.